Welcome to Miami-Dade College in Focus. I'm Giovanni Delfa. The MDC Athletics program is adding yet another banner to our gymnasium. Coming up next, I'll tell you all about the Lady Sharks' exciting success this season.
And I'm Isabel Loggins. Miami may be a relatively young city, but it's a city full of history. And MDC's very own Wolfson Archives wants to share that history with you.
And I'm Warlene Best. Here at the Wolfson Campus, students are using laser cutters, 3D printers, and more to fabricate incredible designs. But you don't have to be an engineer to use this space. Find out exactly what you could create and what else is happening around the college, because MDC in Focus starts right now.
After an intense season on the court, the Miami-Dade College women's volleyball team has once again captured the National Junior College Athletics Association Championship for the second year in a row. This is the 10th national championship for the team and head coach Origene Kiko Benoit's second title as head coach.
While winning nationals for 2 years in a row is amazing. It is hard and a lot of dedication, and that was a team that from the beginning they want that so bad, and they put a goal into it and they went for it. And that's why we got it.
Cruz handles it on the outside, down, trying to get to it, and there's your celebration. 25-18 and 3, Miami-Dade wins the national championship.
It's really hard to describe how I felt at that moment, but it was amazing.
Great, because we have been working a lot for this, and 2 years in a row is amazing. It's just amazing.
I feel so grateful because it's not only us, the 12 people play in the court, also Coach Kiko, Coach Natalie, and Tony, even our professor, classmate, help us a lot during that time. So I feel grateful.
Here in the Kendall Campus Gymnasium, otherwise known as the Shark Tank, the Lady Sharks spent their season preparing to win their second national championship in just as many years. The Lady Sharks are a force to be reckoned with, defeating the College of Southern Idaho 3-0 and finishing their season undefeated with a 34-0 overall record and a 6-0 conference record. As the season progressed, the Lady Sharks were put under more and more pressure each time they advanced with another win. Nevertheless, the team dominated in every aspect, losing only 12 sets in the entire season. Counting last season, the Lady Sharks are currently defending a winning streak of 44 games.
Had the perfect season in MDC was hard, but when you believe in your teammates and your coaches, I think it's easier. It's not just that we play together at the court, but we are family out of the court.
Yeah, we are a family. When we go out to another state, even the championship range and the state range, we always put family because that's who we are.
Composed of 13 players from 4 continents and 6 countries, including Brazil, Colombia, Dominican Republic, China, Czech Republic, and the United States, the team's amazing chemistry and group performance earned the ladies their national title, but the team is far from shy of individual talent. Several players racked up accolades during the tournament. Camila Hernandez, Sun Wensing, and Maciel Matos were named to the 2017 NJCAA Volleyball National All-Tournament team. For the second year in a row, Matos was also named the NJCAA Volleyball National Tournament Most Valuable Player, and head coach Benoit was named the coach of the tournament. Matos finished the season in second place in the entire NJCAA in serving aces per set, while she also led the Lady Sharks in kills and kills per set. Notable performances also consisted of setter Taina Mendez, who led the team in hitting percentage, libero Thais de Castro Andrade, who led the team in digs, Camila Hernandez, who led in digs per set, middle blocker Paula Barbosa Lobro, who led the team in blocks per set, and Tiziana Bambrucoa, who led the team in assists per set. MDC's Department of Athletics prides itself in the promotion of academic excellence and sportsmanship. The college's student athletes have always excelled both on and off the field or court, and many have succeeded in professional sports and in business and industry. MDC teams have earned a total of 35 NJCAA national titles, including 15 in women's sports. MDC has one of the most storied athletic programs in all of collegiate sports. After 44 back-to-back wins, the Lady Sharks bring their perfect season to an end. For MDC in Focus, I'm Giovanni Delfa.
Start your story at MDC. Be analytical. Be imaginative. Be a rising star. Be bold. Be connected. Be the solution. Be ready. What's your story? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
A group of inventors, designers, and thinkers is growing across America, encouraging active learning and reimagining the objects and systems that surround us.
This is the beginning of a makers movement.
These makers have been gaining visibility and recognition as a group that embodies something more than just the art of making.
It's important for us to teach our students these tools because they're going to need it for their future. And a Maker's Lab is a necessary tool nowadays.
As part of its commitment to innovation and technology, Miami-Dade College launched the Makers Lab at the Wolfson Campus, a hub for creative collaboration, innovation, and problem solving. The new space is equipped to help students and faculty make just about anything.
It can be utilized as a studio, as a lab, as a shop.
The Makers Lab offers not only the resources, but also the tools that are needed to accomplish such a project. Basically, anything that we design or think of, we can create it in this space.
Those tools include a number of industry standard equipment, everything from laser cutters, 3D printers, metalworking, and more. There's also on-site assistance from MDC staff and students and specialists. So you don't have to be an engineer to take advantage of this place.
A Makers Lab is an open space for our students to come and be creative. So students from any field, any background can come here and then use this space to collaborate.
You know, we have engineers here, we have people in biology like me, you have artists, you have all sorts of people, and it's definitely a way to find connections and to find people to help you with basically anything you need.
Students and faculty can take advantage of the space to create something new or to enhance existing projects or research. For Gabriel Cortez, that meant finding a unique way to analyze his STEM summer research.
I've been working with Dr. Candelaria in the microbiology lab here in Wolfson Campus, and we've been developing 3D structural predictions for proteins. I found out first about the Makers Lab through my friends. I have a lot of friends that come here, and they were like, why not printing them? And I thought, wow, that's actually a good idea. And that way we would be able to better analyze those structures and even better understand the function of that protein and of the whole bacterium as well.
They can look in the textbook and they can see the drawing, but to actually have them create that is a different level of learning. That's the kind of integrated learning that we would like for students to have.
But the real value of the lab, according to the lab manager, Ralph Provicero, is the collaborative nature of this space.
You know, what I really want to see happen here is students from all of the disciplines come together.
The project I'm working on is the Vertical Gardens project. What we're hoping to do is install various vertical gardens around campus.
A vertical garden is integrating biology, architecture, culinary.
In this project, it's really good actually that we have so many different disciplines because it stops us from just looking at problems in one way, in one solution.
It also gives you different, skill sets that I probably wouldn't have.
Faculty are also welcome to utilize this space and can reach out to the lab if there's a specific program they want to see included. Workshops, training, and more are also available to allow faculty to explore ways of incorporating the lab into their coursework.
Getting the training through the lab has been very, very helpful in helping me to see how I can actually accomplish in the classroom the kinds of things that I would like for the students to experience. So as they move on from here and move into the upper echelons of their learning, it becomes much more real and fascinating for them.
As students and faculty continue working in the space, the hope is to see that work on display at next year's Maker Faire Miami, returning to Miami-Dade College's Wolfson Campus in April 2018.
It's kind of just really fun. Like, it almost doesn't feel like we're doing things that are going to be applicable to the real world, which makes it even more crazy that they are. To any students that would be interested, this is just such an amazing opportunity, and there's so many resources being offered to us. I would say just come any day you want, see who's around, and see what you might be able to start working on.
No idea is too small. Whatever it is that they're thinking, it's definitely possible to make it a reality.
We don't want to put ideas in a box. We don't want to tell them what to do or how to do it. We want them to be creative, and we want them to be like the sky's the limit, that they can do whatever they want, and that's how we will see new projects coming and excellent makers at the end as an outcome from this space.
Whether you have an idea for the next big thing or want to join some of the innovative projects already taking shape, you should stop by the Makers Lab and see what's available. The outcome, we're sure, will be an exciting one. For MDC in Focus, I'm Werlene Best.
I'm Quincy O'Brien. I'm the go-to girl at the M Network.
Each of these programs has helped shape...
I really have to thank MDC in Focus, because if it weren't for this program, I might not have the job that I have today here at the M Network. It helped me figure out what exactly it is I want to do as a career, and I fell in love with the production industry in all aspects because of that experience I got, both in front of and behind the camera.
In the late 1800s, small homesteading communities were rising along Biscayne Bay. Dade County consisted of the vast area between Indian Key and the Jupiter Inlet and contained less than 1,000 persons in 1890. Over the next few years, this area would experience rapid growth as one of America's last frontiers. As the 1800s came to a close, several influential pioneers would settle in the area. Julia Tuttle, along with William and Mary Brickell, who later convinced billionaire Henry M. Flagler to extend his railroad south along Florida's east coast, laying the foundations for a city on both sides of the Miami River. And with that, the city of Miami sprung up as if overnight, earning the town its nickname, the Magic City. Over the next century, the fledgling town would grow from a little more than 400 citizens in 1896 to more than 400,000 today. In that time, Miami has established itself as a major center and leader in finance, commerce, culture, and international trade. Miami is a tropical paradise and a business leader all in one. A great feat for a city that only recently celebrated 100 years. So it may surprise some to know that Miami has one of the most eventful histories of all young American cities. You can find that history here at MDC's Wolfson Campus. Founded in 1984, the Lyndon Lewis Wolfson II Florida Moving Image Archives houses over 35,000 hours of videotape and 23 million feet of film. The Wolfson Archives is an official moving image repository and archives of the state of Florida, and is one of the largest institutions of its kind in the United States.
The collection starts with historical films, home movies from the 1910s, and I think the earliest film that we have is actually the development of Miami Beach. We also have footage from Broward County, from Central Florida, from Cuba, so it's not just Florida or even Miami-centric. We are an archive that covers the entire region.
Lynn Wolfson helped found the Moving Image Archives, along with Ralph Rennick and historian Arva Moore Parks. Named in honor of Lynn and Louis Wolfson II, the archives was created under the joint sponsorship of the Miami-Dade Public Library System, Miami-Dade College, and the University of Miami.
And we were founded by Ralph Rennick, who was the first newscaster in Florida. And his goal was to preserve all of the film footage that was part of his early career.
The Wolfson Archives can now be found in its purpose-built facility on the Wolfson Campus in downtown Miami. The Wolfson Archives is devoted to preserving film and video that records the history and culture of Florida. Footage from the collections have been used in feature films and documentaries, including The Cocaine Cowboys, The U, and Ken Burns' The National Parks. But this footage is also available for public viewing.
So we've been very fortunate in working with Miami-Dade County and the Division of Cultural Affairs to receive a grant for cultural programming. We use the grant monies from Miami-Dade County to put on a number of different events and series of presentations of the material from the archives, because the county agrees with us that it's important to share this, and it actually makes Miami a better place to live when we know about the history of our community.
Rewind is a program of informal, twice-weekly public screenings. The screenings are typically 15 to 30 minutes in length and are free and open to the public.
They start at noon and they go till 1:30 in the afternoon. And our curator, Kevin Wendt, takes material from the collection, builds a theme around the material, and actually plays it during that hour. People who work downtown and also students at the Wolfson Campus, and anybody actually can come, bring your lunch, and sit down and watch some of our video and film history.
Our Rewind screenings date back probably 20 years, maybe even longer. We used to do them when we were housed in the library in downtown Miami, and now we do them in our new home on Wolfson Campus. And the idea has always been just to open up the collection to people so they can see it. But when you've got moving images, you know, lots of people can relate to that, and lots of people can see that, and they can see where we were, where we've come. We have one sequence from 1984. Cell phones were about 6 months old in Miami. It was in 1984. And the reporter says,
"Mobile telephones are in your future. If you don't have one now, you probably will have one in a decade," say the phone makers.
Later on in the story, he demonstrates one of these new really mobile phones, which is a phone built into a briefcase with an antenna sticking out of the briefcase. So to use your mobile phone, you dial it while it's attached to the briefcase, pull it out, put the antenna up, and he's walking down the street with the antenna out in the briefcase, and that's a mobile phone 30 years ago. And that, you know, you get a bunch of people in a room who don't understand what you're talking about, all this, and then they see that and it's like, okay.
In the spring, the Rewind series included vintage video of South Florida women breaking barriers and changing their place in society in balancing acts. South Florida women across 4 decades. The historic film and video screened in March as a part of Women's History Month.
We just did a collection of clips that show kind of like the role and image of women developing from the 1950s, where they're primarily fashion models and Orange Bowl queens, to the 1980s, where they're more involved in society in general, and they're doing bodybuilding, and it's like, you know, it's changing a lot. So that's something you can show in this collection, how these things change.
The spring Rewind screenings also included Building Miami, featuring video of South Florida landmarks, many long gone, captured by unique TV news footage and vintage home movies. Presented during Dade Heritage Days, Building Miami is a second collaboration between the Wolfson Archives and the Dade Heritage Trust.
In addition to Rewind, we have special screenings. We try to have those in the evening so it reaches a different audience. We try to have those in different places sometimes when we can, so we can go out to an audience instead of always having our audience come to us. And those will cover different subjects, and sometimes they go into more depth because it'll be a little more concentrated than a Rewind screening, and it'll be longer. For instance, we're doing a presentation, just kind of a light talk with clips, called The Fontainebleau on Film. And that's about the Fontainebleau Hotel. But what it's really about is the way people who are filmmakers use the Fontainebleau as a location and put it in films in the 50s and 60s, and what the Fontainebleau kind of means.
Rewind screenings take place throughout the year, but if that's not enough of Florida's history for you, the Wolfson Archives also regularly updates their social media and YouTube sites with photos and clips. And you can learn even more about South Florida during their MDC-TV program, Rewind.
A great reason to come to the Wolfson Archives and look at our material is not really to learn something. It's not to come here and get a lesson in history. One of the amazing things about our collection is that film and television is a particularly dynamic way of preserving this history and showing people it moves and it walks and it talks. And it kind of captures not only the way things looked, but the way people acted and the way people thought and the things people said. So that's a very dynamic way of recording history.
It's a window into our history, and it enables us to know where we were, where we are, and where we're going. Miami sometimes gets a bad rap of being a city without any kind of history. And my argument is our history goes back at least 2,000 years, if not more. When they take down one of these buildings, the old buildings downtown, sometimes they find old sites where there was an Indian settlement, especially around the mouth of the Miami River. We don't go around tearing buildings down to discover history ourselves, but what we do is we make available through the film footage a glimpse of what might have been in a particular place 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So that enables people to travel in time and to get a sense of what the city was like, what the journey was to get to the point where we are now.
So that's the excitement of putting this out to people. Because to so many people, it's completely alien. To a lot of people, it's familiar. We did a program where we showed a show from WTVJ called The Plight of Pepito. It was part of their news series, and it was from 1961. It was about the incoming Cuban exiles, but they picked this little boy to represent the Cuban exiles because he's a cute 6-year-old boy with big sad eyes, and he goes and he has to get a vaccination when he's going through. The gentleman who played Pepito when he was 6 years old showed up at the archives one day and said, "Hi, you have a show called Plight of Pepito?" "Yes." "Well, I'm Pepito." And he's still around. So we brought him in. But it's the story of people coming here, going through the processing center. And, you know, we had people in the audience who did that. We have so many times when we'll be showing material, and there are people whose parents did that, whether it be that, whether it be something else. And the reaction that people get is terrific. It's visceral. Sometimes it will provoke memories, and you'll hear incredible stories from people that might not have shown up on television or newspapers or somewhere else because it's their personal stories and everybody didn't get time with a reporter or something like that. So not only is it an interesting record, an amazing record of the history as it was recorded then, but it prompts sometimes new history, pieces of history that you weren't aware of that come to people, that occur to people because they see, I remember I used to go roller skating over there. I used to swim at that pool all the time. So that's an amazing facet of this collection.
The sun has always shone on this magic city. We're 1 million today. The planners predict we'll be 2.5 million by 1985, just a few chapters away in Miami's history book. As we hit 1 million and look around us and still think of what's to come, we can say with honesty, isn't it great to live in Miami? Good night.
Florida's history and culture are in safe hands here at Wolfson Archives. So don't miss the next screening for your chance to view some of Florida's most incredible history right here in Miami. For MDC in Focus, I'm Isabel Loggins.
We've traveled all across Miami. My name is Melissa Adon. I am an NBC6 News reporter. Finding your way around the Kendall campus is now as easy. I'm just incredibly thankful for my time over at MDC in Focus. It was really incredible, some of the stories that I put together. I interviewed a blind person, and it was just so powerful to hear their story and then be able to tell their story in our visual medium. That was a huge learning experience for me as such a young journalist.
I'm currently a student right now, and I got my first Emmy.
I never thought, just from being an MDC student, that I would win an Emmy. It was such a surprise to me.
Video game concert. Ariel Rubalacaba, Albert, Alberto Bade, Mikel Garcia.
It's absolutely thrilling to be awarded this honor back-to-back times. I mean, if you would have told me this 3 years ago, I would have never believed that. I mean, just back-to-back Emmys is a huge honor.
Originally in the early meetings, we were kind of brainstorming and I thought, man, what if we can really make this into a visual experience? So immediately I was like, what can we do, sir? Can we do IMAX kind of theater? Can we incorporate fog effects?
There was a lot of hours put into this, sweat, tears, bickering and stuff, but after all, this is what it takes.
I believe was 13 or 14 tracks of videos, and we had to multicam, which is cutting from all those 13 cameras, getting the best one at the right moment. So that was a tremendous challenge for us, and there was a lot of people involved.
A big part of the mixing of this concert really goes to Phil Coladetti, because he's ultimately the one that mixed all the sound for this.
The show ended up being way better than what I expected because we had teams and competent people doing their parts.
My situation is it's my job to teach everyone how to do my job. And I can just be overlooking, supervising, but also teaching. We're competing against thousands of stations that have a lot of equipment and a lot of people with experience. But at the end, it's the passion that the students put into this project that make it happen.
I mean, it's not possible without the vision, the craftsmanship, and the ability of my colleagues. And of course, there is no music unless the students of the Miami-Dade College Symphony Orchestra are performing it. And of course, there's a level above that, which is our administration that is supportive.
I think there's a lesson to be learned that quality is more important than quantity. You first have to reach quality, and then you can say quantity. Because once you have quality, you can reach an audience. Something can be entertaining.
I want to thank especially the Miami-Dade College administrator to allow these students and the conductor, Alberto Bade, to put this show.
To every student of the Miami-Dade College Symphony Orchestra, as Ariel said, this is your passing grade.
There's something about this program that is special. It's unique, but I think it has to do with passion. I really believe that passion is the secret ingredient of this program. With every frame, with every note, with every interview, there's love and there's passion behind it. And I think that's the secret ingredient that whether the audience knows it or not, that's what makes this show a winning show.
It was really rewarding to finally get that and be a part of this great team, Emmy award-winning team.
Our goal is now to bring a third trophy, and it's going to sit right next to the second one that we just won. That's the goal for next year, so we're looking forward to that.